What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Man Cave Podcast. I'm Dan Casper. As always, a revamped Man Cave Podcast. What the hell do I mean by that? Well, I'll explain it to you here in just a second. First off, here's the game plan for this episode of the podcast. Week one of the NFL season's in the books, man. So we're going to do best and worst from week one of the NFL season. Plus, I want to talk a little bit about stadium etiquette. Some people need to learn a little bit about stadium etiquette. And then wrapping it up with a little here's the thing. Plus, I've got an interview with Packers reporter from ESPN.com, Rob Demovsky, also included in this episode of the podcast. So, what do I mean by revamped episode of the podcast? Well, we're going to get new episodes of the Man Cave podcast dropping every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm talking about content that's not on the radio show. Now, I kind of violated that, obviously, because Rob was on my show, but I want to replay the interview in case you didn't get to hear it. But snippets of the show will still be included in the podcast. It'll be included with the tailgate series that you already know about, like 715 Green and Gold Tailgate Talk, 715 Brew Crew Tailgate Talk, the Bucks one, are inside the training room. Those segments are still going to be a part of the Man Cave podcast, but specifically episodes of the Man Cave podcast, we're going to go that's the goal, 2 days a week, Tuesday and Friday. Brand new content, a little bit unfiltered, hopefully, more fun, casual conversations, shooting the you know what, and just kind of like bar room man cave conversations. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, and that's the goal. I want to make this more fun. I want to make it more interactive. Okay, I want to include you guys in. We're gonna have more guests. I want your opinion. We've got an email that I want you to send me some stories. I don't care if they're Bigfoot stories, true crime stories, ghost stories, first time going to a Packer game, or just comments on sports in general or your favorite teams. Hit me up with an email, all right? mancavepodmail@gmail.com. I had to double check it. mancavepodmail@gmail.com. I already gotten a couple of them, like show and tell. Forgot to mention that. We're going to do show and tell. I want to see your man caves. I want to see your garages, your collections, card collections, anything like that. I want your mail. So send it on over. But like I mentioned, we're going to have some people. That's the goal, having more people on the podcast too, and just having fun and, again, a little unfiltered, if you will. So with that, let's jump right into it. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Week one of the NFL season is in the books. So half the teams are undefeated, half the teams looking for their first win. Oh, I should back up a little bit here too. Also, with the new Man Cave podcast, it's available in video form too. So you're going to be able to see this good mug on our YouTube channel. So, all right, back to the NFL talk. Half the teams are undefeated, half the teams are looking for the win. My best and worst from the NFL week one. Got to go Green Bay defense first. Why not? Come on, I'm playing Homer right there. Of course, it's the Packers defense. Top two, not two. All right. That defense is smoking with the defensive line. Micah Parsons, defensive player of the year, just in the impact alone, for crying out loud. All right. Edgerrin Cooper's a beast. Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness looks better. Quay Walker, Xavier McKinney made Detroit's offense look pedestrian, less than pedestrian, for crying out loud. All right. Packers defense best, BEST best right now. That was awesome to watch. So, and then former Packer, I got to give him credit, Aaron Rodgers. Now, I think it's a little overreaction with his play, saying, oh, he's back. Vintage Aaron is back. No, I think that's a little overreaction, but I got to give him credit to where credit's due. Dude balled out. And he did look like vintage Aaron Rodgers. I think there was probably a little bit something to it going up against the Jets and a little bit extra motivated with that, but hey, got to give him credit. Guy looks sharp against the Steelers. Staying with the quarterbacks, Josh Allen, what a comeback against the Ravens on Sunday night. I mean, he showed why he is the reigning NFL MVP. Josh Allen was a stud with that comeback. Also, tip of the cap to Josh Allen. Cool story. And I'm trying to acknowledge this every day on the radio show, just kind of a positive note and such. But tip of the cap, because if you noticed before the game, he had a hat on, and he's doing this for every home game pregame. Hats painted by pediatric children, and going to auction those hats off and raise money for the pediatric hospital. So I think that's just an awesome, awesome, cool story. So really cool from Josh Allen to do that. But his play, that was also the best from the weekend too. So Colts. Again, I think it's a little overreaction to say the Colts are legit this year, but hey, they dominated the Dolphins, dude. Daniel Jones was awesome. The defense was awesome, not allowing the Dolphins to score until the fourth quarter. So Colts fans enjoy it because I don't know how long it's going to last, but man, they looked good week one. I have my doubts that they can keep up with that, but hey, we'll see, right? We'll see if they continue to do that. So what else do I got here? Chargers. I mean, it was a close game. Chiefs are gonna be fine, but you knocked off the Chargers in or you knocked off the Chiefs in week one, Chargers. So you get a kudos there. Division opponent, knocking down the cream of the crop in the division. That a boy. So Chargers, best from week one. And then finally, Justin Fields. I know the Jets lost, but I think if you're a Jets fan and you're the Jets overall, you got to be feeling good about Justin Fields, about bringing him aboard. I thought the game plan for Justin Fields, what the Jets drew up and how they called it was fantastic. Putting him in a position to affect games, to win games that best suits him. That was the downfall with the Bears. They failed at that. Barely got to see it with the Steelers. Kudos to the Jets for that. If you're a Jets fan, I think you should be feeling pretty good about Justin Fields being the quarterback on your team. Now the worst, Lions offense. You looked lost. You looked worse than pedestrian. The loss of Ben Johnson, it's just one game. Don't want to overreact too much, but you got to figure out some stuff. Now, I know that Green Bay defense is legit right now, right? I mean, come on now. You're talking to me here, but that Lions offense, that was bad. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs couldn't get anything going. Again, credit to Green Bay's defense, but that Lions offense, whew, they got to get back to what they have been the last few years here. Bengals offense, speaking of bad, oh man, Joe Burrow was supposed to be MVP. Jamar Chase was the number one pick in a lot of fantasy drafts this year. And what the hell was that? That was bad. Again, I don't want to overreact, but it was bad. So that's what we're doing here. Bad and or worse, best and worst from the weekend. That was awful from the Bengals offense. Ravens defense. How do you not close that thing down? How do you not shut that thing down against the Bills? I was just praising Josh Allen for being one of the best. Ravens defense sucked. They stunk. How do you allow that to happen in the fourth quarter when you have Jair, you bring him in, you got a Humphrey, you got all these defensive players, Hamilton, and you allow that to happen? That's embarrassing. That was bad. I don't think anything's worse, though, than the Dolphins and what we saw from the Dolphins this past weekend. Oh, Mike McDaniel, you're in trouble, man. I mean, you have some of the offensive guys you have, and you don't put up any points until the fourth quarter. And what is going on the defensive side? It's not good in Miami. It's not good in Miami, and I like Mike McDaniel. I really do, but it's just not good. And I will say this to any fellow Packers fans who wanted Mike McDaniel as their head coach or thought he was better than Matt LaFleur. Look what we're seeing right now. Okay? Just say it. Now, I know it's not all Mike McDaniel's fault, but look what we're seeing. Offensive-minded head coach, and you put up 8 points in the fourth quarter against the Colts. That's unacceptable. That's bad. So that's my best and worst from week one of the NFL season. Before we get to show and tell, stadium etiquette. So there's two things here that I want to talk about with stadium etiquette. One obviously deals with Philly Karen. And the other one deals with the Lions fans overtaking Lambeau Field. First of all, Philly Karen, get a life. Get a life. Okay, I get it. It's a home run ball. You took that ball away from a kid. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, what kind of person am I becoming? What kind of person am I to take a baseball from a kid? Sure, the dad ran down and got it for his kid. Now, if you were taking it away from him, okay, maybe a little bit different. Probably is a little bit different. You took it away from a kid, Karen. I don't even know if that's your real name. We've seen the video all over the place. You're pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic and sad. You don't do that. Baseball, the game, balls are for the kids, okay? I'm sorry. You get a foul ball, you get a home run ball, give it to the kid, okay? Yeah, I would love a home run ball in my man cave collection, but My son's there, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get the ball. And in fact, if I come back from a game and he's not there, he's probably gonna get the ball too, or we're gonna share it in the man cave. All right. That was embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing. And it was also embarrassing to see Packers fans selling their tickets and seeing the influx of Lions fans. Now, this has been a repeat thing. Shout out to Lions fans for overtaking Lambeau Field um, the last couple of years. I mean, they have been coming in droves over there. The blue in that stadium has been legit. But I mean, come on now. I have a problem if you are a season ticket holder and you sell the majority of your tickets and maybe go to one game of the year, especially if you're a Packers fan. When you got that waiting list of people who would die to go to every single game. I know I might be ruffling some feathers here, but I don't care. Okay, if you can't make a couple games here or there, that's acceptable. But I know people, or I've heard of people where they may only go to one game a year and they sell their other ones to pay for all that. Okay, I get it. You're making some straight cash on me and you're making some coin, but you're also risking of getting that fan base in there. We got to do better. And speaking of stadium etiquette and stuff, when you're at a game, know when to do the damn wave. I don't know how many times I've been on this. Don't do the wave when your team's on offense. Know when to stand or sit. No, and I know you're taking your maybe a kiddo to a ball game and such, but know the room, know the crowd. Okay. There was a game I was at the other day. I won't say where because it'll tip it off. But I was at a game this year and had my kid with me. And these two middle-aged women with their boyfriends or husbands were apparently just chatting it up and long lost friends in that and just dropping the F-bomb and this and that and some other stuff that should not be said to a kid. They were literally sitting right behind them. Know the room. They weren't even watching the game. They were just chit-chatting and saying this stuff. Know the room. Know the kids there. I know. I get it. You can do whatever you want. It's a free country and that sort of thing. But know the rule. Have a little decorum. Have a little damn respect too. So know when to stand. Know when to sit down. It's third down. It's fourth down. That's when you stand. If it's a big pitch at a baseball game, that's when you stand. Get loud. For people who say, don't get too loud here, get loud. Okay. Go and do that. You have the right to do that for cheering on your defense. That I have no problem with. But kind of know the situation too. Stop doing the damn wave. That thing is so overplayed. I don't care even if you're on defense and you do the wave, it's dumb. It's dumb. Overplayed. Get rid of it. Okay. But if you go to a baseball game and you get a home run ball or a foul ball, give it to the kid. All right. Give it to the kid, Karen or Joe or Bill or Lisa, whoever you are out there. Give it to the kid. Okay. All right. Let's do a little show and tell. So again, if you have any pictures of your garage, your man cave, a card collection, or any collection, we've done this once in a while, and it's going to be on my Facebook page that I'm going to post it up there. But I got to give a shout out to uh this Dave. His name's Dave, and he sent me a couple pictures of his garage cave. Now, this was before the Packers game. He said, longtime listener, figured I'd share some photos of my garage man cave here in Eau Claire. It's quiet right now, but we'll be bumping all day. Got some TVs in there. You got some sweet flags decor in there, a little bit of Brewers, a little bit of Badgers, a little bit of Packers in there. I like it. Got the garage fridge. What do we got in there? One, two, three, four. Four TVs, but three are TVs and four looks like the screen, the movie screen there. You got the dartboard in there. I like it. I love it. He's even got the custom sign that says the Dave Cave with a Packer, Brewer, and Wisconsin logo on there. I like it. Nice work, Dave. Everybody else, send me what you got. Okay. I've got my garage is attached to my man cave, and I'll say this. So my garage is attached to my man cave, and I've always wanted to make it a part of my man cave. And I'm not quite sure how to do it. Like we use it to park in there, and we've got, the lawnmowers and that. I've got my workbench. I think I gotta organize it a little bit better, maybe clean it up a little bit more, and incorporate the workbench for some woodworking stuff as part of the man cave. You know what I mean? I got to incorporate the garage somehow because it's attached to the man cave. Got to go through the garage, open the door, boom, you're in the man cave. So I got to do a better job of incorporating that element into it. So if you got any ideas, let me know. I'm curious to how I should go about it. So Tell you what, let's do a little. I'll wrap it up here with my here's the thing, and then we're gonna do, or I'll play the interview with Rob Demovsky. It's about 9 minutes or so, but I figured Packers fans probably want to hear from one of the best who covers the Packers out there. We always appreciate Rob for coming on and such. So I'm going to wrap up every podcast. Now, this is a little bit shorter. It's a little bit shorter because, well, we just began the week with a 4-hour show, so I'm still trying to get used to my new schedule. Plus, I want more guests on the Man Cave podcast. C-Bomb, if you're listening, you need to be on. Figure out your schedule, dude. So it is a little bit shorter of an episode here. I do plan on them being a little bit longer. So bear with me until I kind of get into my new schedule and that. But I'm going to wrap up every episode with a little here's the thing. Because I always say, here's the thing when I get into like an opinion statement, comment, or something like that, or try to explain something. Like, here's the thing there, Bob. So I was reading this article on ESPN, essentially pretenders, contenders in Major League Baseball for the World Series. And the Brewers were on there. And I was actually surprised they put the Brewers as a contender, but they knocked their ability to, or inability to hit home runs. And that's been something that's been said all year. Now, my argument was, you look at what they've been doing post All-Star break, and they're a lot better. They're just outside the top 10. Before the All-Star break, they were 23rd, 25th. So the tide has changed, and I think you need to look at that. But here's the thing. I think every baseball fan, outside of cheering for their own team, should be cheering for the Brewers to win the World Series. I don't want to hear about the style that they play with. I don't want to hear about, well, it's not a very analytical style, the lack of home runs and all that. So I don't want to hear that, because they play the game that we all grew up playing. They play that style. They play the game the right way, in my opinion. Call it old school if you want, small ball if you want. They're stealing bases. They're manufacturing runs outside the home run ball. Of course, the home run ball, chicks dig the long ball. I get it. I wanted to hit home runs all the time too, okay? But I appreciate the style that the Brewers are doing, and I appreciate the way Pat Murphy is doing it and going about it by like, okay, my lineup, I don't have a lot of power guys. So I'm not just going to sit there and ask them to hit home runs, because that's what the analytics say. What do we do best? We adjust. We say this all the time when it comes to coaches and teams. Stop fitting square pegs in round holes. Build around your team, game plan around your team, and that's what the Brewers are doing. And I love the style they're doing, because, yeah, you could call it a little throwback if you want to. But I really believe if you are a diehard baseball fan and you're around my age or older, outside of rooting for your team, you need to root for the Brewers to win the World Series, because they play the game the right way. They play the game that we grew up playing. And I don't know if it'll change the narrative of analytics and that stuff. It probably won't. Analytics is here to stay in all the sports. But it'll show that you could win in multiple different ways. And especially when they're a small market team. All right, so at the back end of this, the interview with Rob's coming up, but I want to say, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Man Cave podcast, the revamped Man Cave podcast. I promise we're going to have a little bit more. These are going to be a little bit longer, but I just wanted to throw an introductory one here this week, because I want to launch today. I want to get this Man Cave podcast to fly. I want to get it going here, and I need all of you to help out. So share it, invite people. 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify, because that helps the algorithms. If you can go to Apple and leave a positive review, that helps the algorithms. YouTube, subscribe to the channel, watch the videos over there. We're on Amazon as well, so we're all over the place. I need your help, though. I need my armchair MVPs, because that's what I'm going to call the listeners from now. Radio show, podcast listeners. I need my armchair MVPs to help spread the word of the Man Cave podcast. Okay? So, big thanks for tuning in. Let's get to the interview with Rob Demovsky. It's a quick turnaround for the Packers as they are getting set for Thursday night football against the Washington Commanders. So to help us break it all down and to kind of recap what we saw on Sunday with the victory over the Detroit Lions, our good friend Rob Demovsky from ESPN.com is joining us here this morning. First of all, Rob, thanks for spending some time with us here in the Chippewa Valley.
No problem. Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Not bad, man. Not bad. So I want to go back a little bit to Sunday's game, the win against the Lions, and just kind of get your thoughts. So for me, it kind of exceeded my expectations, I guess, for week one, especially from the defensive performance.
Yeah.
Did it exceed your expectations a little bit, just how well that defense played against the Lions on Sunday?
Yeah, a little bit. It does make me wonder a little bit how much the Lions are, missing their offensive coordinator, who we saw coach the Bears last night.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense, quite frankly, looked pretty ordinary. Maybe it's just early in the season, or maybe the Packers defense really took them out of whatever they wanted to do. Going back and watching the game again, their run defense, the Packers' run defense was outstanding. Guys weren't out of gaps. The defensive line did their job, allowing linebackers to make plays, and that's why you saw relatively big tackle numbers from Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker. And quite frankly, the secondary wasn't really tested. And to me, now that you have Micah Parsons, the secondary is the maybe the only real question mark on this defense.
Mm-hmm. So for someone who was at the game on Sunday, and you've covered the team, I believe, since 1997, have you experienced anything similar to the reaction that Micah Parsons is getting from both the fans and his new teammates?
Yeah, I'm glad you said the second part. The fan reaction was definitely to be expected. People are really excited about it. The sideline, though, and the way guys have embraced him maybe caught me a little bit by surprise. This team hasn't done this kind of move. They haven't brought in this kind of a player in the past, so I guess you're never really sure how it's going to play with the other guys. But when he ran out last out of the tunnel, all the guys were hyped. When he had that sack, I mean, all the guys on the sideline went crazy. Even when he went out, Dan, for his very first snap on that first third down, like you could just see the guys sort of move a little closer off the bench to the sideline just to get a glimpse of Micah's first play. So that's an underrated aspect of this move. Yes, you get a great player like Parsons who's going to do a lot of things, but it also maybe had unintended consequences, just how much juice it gave to the locker room, I guess, really. I
was reading your latest piece where you talk about Lucas Van Ness and Micah Parsons, who had some really positive stuff to say about Lucas Van Ness. And I think in training camp preseason, a lot of us were really focusing on, okay, how good is Lucas going to be this year entering year 3? And, he loses sort of his starting job. He's going to get a lot of snaps in that, but kind of loses his starting job with Parsons here. But am I crazy to think that maybe this actually puts Van Ness in a better situation now?
No, you're not crazy at all, and I think that's going to really benefit him. I will say this before, and I did not get into this in the story because it really ended up taking on a different turn with Parsons' arrival. But I've been thinking about writing about Van Ness, really all training camp. And I remember talking to him about midway through training camp, and he had made some plays in practice. I asked him what the difference was, and he said confidence. And I said, well, where did that confidence come from? Because, quite frankly, he really hasn't done a whole lot in game situations. And he talked about their new defensive line coach, DeMarcus Covington, about how he's just simplified things and really shown Van Ness the way. So I think he was poised to maybe have a little bit of a better year anyway. And I think this, while it may lower his snap counts a little bit, it probably helps free him up for more one-on-ones, move him around a little bit. I mean, we barely saw him play any interior line in training camp, and the other day we saw that cheetah package, they're calling him, with 3 edge rushers, Van Ness being in the middle and Parsons and Rashawn Gary on the outside, and then another defensive tackle inside, mostly Devontae Wyatt or Colby Wooden or one of those other guys. I'm assuming they call it cheetah because it gets 3 fast guys on the field at once. But I think that's going to be a real benefit for not only Van Ness, but Rashawn Gary and even Kingsley Enagbari and Brenton Cox, guys who all are going to get maybe different opportunities, but maybe better ones.
I'm glad you mentioned Covington because yesterday we were handing out game balls and that, and I gave my game ball to DeMarcus Covington because of the job. I mean, you talked about the run defense a little bit earlier, and I know a lot of people were assuming, okay, is the run defense going to fall because no Kenny Clark is there? Yeah. But to get that group ready, bringing in a new guy and then Colby Wooden going over there, I mean, just what type of impact has Covington had on this group so far?
I think it's been big, and I think this is a guy who, the Packers were probably pretty lucky to get him when I had first gotten wind of him possibly being the D-line coach. I reported that they were probably going to hire him, and then about a week or two went by where he didn't end up getting hired. And I thought, well, A, was my information wrong, or B, did something happen? And it sounded like in that time, some other teams kind of came after Covington, and he had multiple offers to weigh, and ultimately ended up taking the Packers' opportunity. I think, if I don't have their little the coaches' bios in front of me, but I think they ended up giving him the defensive run game coordinator position as a way to get him a little bit higher profile, because other teams were trying to hire him. So to me, that just tells you what kind of guy he is and how he's thought of around the league, that he had basically had his pick of jobs.
Yeah, no doubt. I know the Packers didn't practice yesterday, but an injury report did come out, and I'm sure some fans are like, holy cow, that's really long heading into a week 2 game. I think really highlighting is the Zach Tom availability. Also, Aaron Banks is on there too. I mean, we got a quick turnaround. How big of a loss would it be for this offensive line if both those guys aren't able to go against the Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, it would be tough for sure, and I think on the short week, I would guess there's probably a pretty decent chance they're without one or both of those guys. Talked to somebody yesterday who said that Tom's availability for Thursday was very much in question, and usually, when you hear that, that means he's probably not going to play. But we'll see as the week goes on. Don't have a great feel for Banks just yet. But Banks missed a lot of time in training camp, so they're used to sort of shuffling guys in and out of there. Jordan Morgan, would be the guy who would play if Banks doesn't go. The question would be on Zach Tom. First they used Darian Kennard, the guy they traded from Philly late in training camp. I actually thought he did a really nice job. And then at the end, they threw Anthony Belton, the rookie, in there, presumably just to get him a few snaps. I would assume they would go with big number 70 Kennard at tackle if Zach Tom doesn't go.
One more question for you, Rob, before we let you go. Jordan Love in that game on Sunday, did he look more calm, a little bit more comfortable? I mean, what were your impressions from what you saw from Jordan Love against the Lions?
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty patient, I guess would be the word I would use. He had one throw that was way too risky that almost got picked off, but he had pressure in his face, and really that was one of the only times that they had really felt much pressure. He was pretty clean most of the day. He missed the throw early. I think it was to Tucker Kraft, just overlet him down the left side. But otherwise, I thought he was really good and really sharp, especially considering how little time not only he had, but had with guys like Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks. Those guys missed a bunch of camp, and then obviously Love missed a bunch of time with his sprained left thumb. So I thought, as far as starts of the season go for him, I thought it was about as good as you could do. What was he, 16 of 22, and at least 2 or 3 of those incompletions were throwaways. Don't know, maybe you could grade one of them a drop, but maybe none. So I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. He's Rob Demovsky, ESPN NFL Nation Packers reporter, joining us this morning. You can always check out his work at ESPN.com. We appreciate it as always. And did you circle any games on the upcoming Blue Gold basketball schedule now that it was released a week or so ago?
I mean, I'm trying to get to all of them, but it's between Roan playing at Eau Claire, my older son Hogan playing at Lawrence, and the Packers schedule. I don't know how we're going to make it work, but I'm going to try to get there as much as possible. Looking for the move-in date a couple weeks ago went great. Everything seems to be settled in, and can't wait to get back there and see some more things.
Awesome. Well, Rob, again, we appreciate the time this morning. Looking forward to watching your work throughout the season, and we'll chat with you again soon.
All right, Dan, thanks for having me.